All right, welcome everyone to the Abington Conservation Commission meeting. The time is 6:33 p.m. on October 8th. You're going to hear a little bit of a feedback in the room. We've got some speakers back there, so people will be able to hear you talking on the recording, so be careful what you say. I just wanted to start before we get into the business. One of our commissioners, Dan Camerata, has resigned, and I just want to acknowledge the work that he's put into the commission and wish him the best of luck. Okay, so first up on the agenda, we have discussion and possible vote on restoration proposal for 60 Berry Road, Rivero de Valny Pinto. I'm sorry if I said the name incorrectly.
Hi, can you hear me? Oh, that's quite an echo.
Yeah, that's a little...
So hi, I'm Lauren Gluck from Power Corporation, and I'm here representing the Pinto Rivero family for the restoration plan at 60 Berry Road. So you should have received copies of the plan. So a little bit of background. Sorry, that's a little distracting.
I think if you speak slower,
Okay.
it's not as...
Sure.
They're trying to fix it now, anyway.
Okay, so first I'll give you a little bit of background. So earlier this summer, there was an enforcement order issued for some unauthorized filling that had occurred on the property at 60 Berry Road. Subsequently, there was some discussion with the commission about the nature of this area that was filled during some backyard landscaping activities. And it was a small ponded area known to be within an animal enclosure that appeared to have some connection to an adjacent wetland system to the rear of the property. So the family contacted me and retained me as their wetland scientist to take a look at the impact and then propose a restoration plan to the commission. Prior to going to the site, I did a pretty extensive review of available mapping. So I looked at historic aerial photos from before the filling incident and from after, the most recent being 2023. I also looked at some Google Street View images, which had a pretty clear view of the area that was impacted. And also some layers on GIS, like the wetlands layer and then the LiDAR contours. We have statewide 1-foot contours that are pretty accurate. I don't know if you can see this very well. There's also a copy of this in your packet, but this is the existing conditions prior to the filling activity here. You see the house up here, and then this dark area which I've shaded in red. This is the area that's pretty clearly visible on aerial imagery as being a pond. It's too small to be a pond under the Wetlands Protection Act definition, but it is connected to a larger wetland complex, and therefore it could be considered an extension of that wetland complex. And you'll see here these white contours. These are 1-foot contour lines from LiDAR. They're not exact, it's from a flyover, but you can get an idea here that there is a pretty well-defined depression that generally follows the extent of this shadowing that shows water. And also this blue line here, this is from when I went out to the site and did a wetland delineation. So you'll see that what once was here appeared to have connected to this wetland complex back here that consists of some streams and then some vegetated wetlands bordering. This right here, this is a trail that leads from the end of Berry Road down to the high school. And then this section of wetland down here where it extends kind of off-site, I just GPS located for reference. But there's a little wetland crossing that comes across here. And then this is their property, their backyard. Sorry, thank you. Right here. So from my review of the mapping, I found that the area that was filled appears to be about 1,400 square feet in size. And then also, there's a photo in your packet that's also shown here. This is the Google Street View. So you can see the nature of the area. There's a lawn enclosed by fence. This was reportedly where a previous owner kept some animals, and we believe the pond may have been a water feature that had been enhanced. It may have always been wetland, but it may have been enhanced to create a water feature for the animals. Along the back end of that lawn, there's a row of rocks that still remains there, and that's where the tree line corresponds to and the fence line. There was a pre-existing fence there. It was an old, kind of decrepit metal fence that has since been replaced with a more privacy-friendly picket fence. This is just some more views of the area. I don't know, are you able to see it okay?
I have my copy
Yeah, you can
here.
also look on in the packet.
Yep.
So again, this is just an annotated aerial from 2019. You can pretty clearly see the area here. And then 2023 aerial photo, you can see some changes here, that the area that was once the shaded water now appears to be gone. So that was all the research I did ahead of time before going to the site. And then you'll also see some photos in your packet and up here of the condition presently. The owners were doing some landscaping improvements and wished to have some more areas to store materials and vehicles for their business. And they placed a pervious gravelly type soil material to level the area that was once the farm pond and lawn. There's a few different views of it here. This is a view from the end of Berry Road facing into the property. The little pond would have been right around here. This is a view just along the backside of the fence, just to show the conditions here. It doesn't appear that there's been any damage to vegetation as a result of the filling activity. It appears all the work had been done in previously disturbed areas. One other thing we noticed was along the back tree line to the rear of the house, there was some landscaping waste there. Some of it appeared years and years old. It's an area that I think just yard waste had been deposited over the years, so we talked to the owners about that. They understand the need to clean that up and discontinue any disposal of yard waste in the wetland. So next, we can talk a little bit about the proposed restoration plan to offset those impacts. Excuse me. So right here, and you'll have a copy of this in your packet. This is the proposed restoration plan. For easy reference, it does show the old ponded area that was filled in red. And then we have our proposed restoration blue. You'll see there's a slight deviation of the footprint of the ponded area and the restoration area. And that's due to wanting to create just a more optimal configuration of the area. It does mostly overlap. But rather than create exactly what was there before, we want to create something that has a little bit of a better connection to the adjacent wetland and also optimizes the owner's use of the property. So in exchange for that slight reconfiguration, we did add 200 square feet. The proposed restoration is about 1,600 square feet, whereas the filled pond was about 1,400 square feet. Additionally, during previous meetings, I did listen to the recordings of the old meetings. The commission seemed open to, rather than recreate what was there before, which actually wasn't in the best shape, it was a unvegetated farm pond, we would propose to create a vegetated wetland with different species that would be beneficial to wildlife. The species shown here are red maple, high bush blueberry, silky dogwood, and then a native seed mix. Although we'd be open to substitutions if the owners wish to plant something else, and we would run it by the commission prior to planting. We would also propose that this is where we found the yard waste, that be removed. And the owners do wish to retain the recently installed fence. There was a fence there previously, and the new fence provides a better degree of privacy. And with all the foot traffic that occurs through those woods, it's very important for them to maintain the privacy of their property. And then in terms of buffer impacts, we do understand that there was work not just in a pond, but also a buffer. That buffer has been maintained for years as lawn, and there was no vegetation disturbance. So we're just asking that the proposed restoration, it will be an improvement over the pre-existing condition, which was a lawn with a pond filled with trash. So we think it more than adequately compensates for the impact. So I'd be happy to take any questions on this.
I do have a question. I like your plan. I like the 1,400 square foot replication, plus you added on 200 square feet. And I understand that you're saying that the buffer was lawn. However, how do we ensure that this replication doesn't get compromised in the future? If the fence remains where it is, and I understand the need for privacy because there is a lot of foot traffic there, and that's, it's hard, and they've already tagged it in the back or something, I guess.
Yep.
Even cedar fences will rot, and if it's in a replication area, it's going to rot even faster. is there an opportunity to move the fence so that it's around the replication area? Because you really don't want to be, I mean, if you're spending the money to do a replication, you certainly don't want it destroyed.
Yeah, well, the intent here isn't to create an area that's going to be substantially flooded. And where the fence is actually sits in a little bit of a high spot. So I talked about how we had that row of boulders that was along the tree line.
Okay.
The fence is kind of up a little bit, so
Okay.
we wouldn't be excavating like right up to the fence so that there would be water where the fence is. It would
Okay.
be kind of a slope down there.
Okay.
So this would be a low spot, and this would remain upland. So right now, the wetland boundary is all the way back here. This is elevated. This is a footpath. This is elevated.
Yep.
And then, so we would be excavating down, so the lowest spot would be here, and the intent would be for it to drain this way and not for it to kind of overflow into where the fence is sitting now.
So it would drain over towards the
Towards-
stream.
Towards this stream, yeah. there's
Yeah.
The back of the property versus the side of the
Yeah,
property. I
right.
get
Yeah,
it.
so it flows, there's actually, it flows, there's a couple of them. One goes that way, one goes
Okay.
that way, they converge, and then
Yeah.
there's a pipe somewhere back here that they all kind of join and flow up that way.
So currently where what was originally there was filled in, and he wants to keep his business trucks there, how is that going to affect the replication?
The goal would be that they would keep the strip here, not put any equipment or vehicles down here. This would be allowed to revegetate, and we understand the need to kind of do that due diligence and make sure that it revegetates and that it's monitored and reported to the commission. They would keep this area here as is, and that should be substantial enough to store some degree of materials there.
Yeah, because, I mean, replication is a lot of money.
Yep.
I don't want to see something bad happen to it.
I understand, and you can't really see it very well on here, but we do have erosion controls proposed
Okay.
here, and, I would even recommend that after it's constructed, just put a row of wattles or something along there up on the upper end until it establishes.
So if they had to replace that fence, there's enough room to go in there,
And not
replace
disturb-
it, but not affect
Not affect the
replicated
wetlands.
area.
I think so. I think the property line goes, and I only have the GIS property lines to go off of,
Sure.
but it was showing it going past the fence a bit, and this is all upland back here, so I think it would be easy to access, especially since there's a footpath back there already.
Right, okay. Okay. And in terms of the species, I noticed that you had red maple, minimum 4 feet, and then high bush blueberry and silky dogwood 1 to 3 feet. I would like to see that
More.
bigger.
Okay.
Usually we have 5 to 6.
6 to 8.
6 to 8 for
On
maple.
trees and
And 3 to 5
5 on
for the
shrubbery.
bushes.
Okay.
I know that, I don't know if this time of year, if it's harder to get that size
Yeah.
compared to the spring.
Yeah.
So I would be okay with deferring to the spring, since we really only have a,
Right. I
Not
mean,
Yeah, I'd
even a
have no
month to go.
problem putting it up. You don't want to
Yeah.
start
Okay.
that now.
Yeah, I also had concerns about with the seed mix, we want it to establish and stabilize
Right.
rather than have to wait a whole season and
Yeah.
hope it doesn't get,
yeah,
washed
And
away
even
by
though
the
the
rainstorm.
school and the houses around there, there's still deer that move through that area.
yeah.
So they would just be having a nice little
Yeah,
time with it over the winter.
yeah, give it a chance. I think the
Whereas if
spring
it's
is,
planted in the spring, it has more of a chance of success.
yeah,
And
true.
not having to spend money.
Replacing,
Right,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Okay.
I think they've done a great job. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be better than it was,
I
obviously.
think it's going to be very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, me too. This is very nicely done.
Thank you.
Nice plans.
Do we want to put up
Signage, maybe 1 or 2, just so that,
Maybe
should they
just put
sell?
it on the fence.
What if
Um,
they remove the fence?
it's not so much for the current residents, but should they sell and new people move in, this is where we incur the problems with people not realizing what that is.
Exactly, this situation.
Exactly, so that's the reason for signage, so that the money that's being spent is not going to,
We don't want 30 years from now, our children and grandchildren to be having an enforcement order.
Yeah, that's true. What kind
Yeah.
of signage would you typically, would it be like a mark, like what type of signage
I
do
think
you
it's a
recommend?
post with a sign.
4x4 post.
With a sign.
And
Okay,
if
And it
you
says
would-
conservation,
it just says conservation.
Abington
Abington
Conservation.
Conservation Commission, wetlands area or something.
Yeah.
It's on our website.
Okay. Is that a standard town requirement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would
So
just be in a.
what I would suggest, I don't know about you guys, but probably maybe 2 of them,
That's, yeah, two, I mean,
right about here, if you can. 4x4 post here, and maybe a 4x4 post down here, right up near the,
do they on the other side of the fence too? Maybe the kids who go through there on a high school would understand that it's a conservation area and they shouldn't be doing bad things out there too. I'm just saying.
they'll take,
You're awfully optimistic.
they'll take
have-
the sign down.
I
so-
have faith in the youth of America, though. Okay,
No.
no? All right.
A couple. Did you say you'd want 2 signs? And they're 4x4?
No, 4x4 posts.
It's a post.
Okay,
And
yeah.
You know, like a
the
building-
sign is
Okay.
About 3x5.
about 3 inches by 5
big
inches.
bat.
That just goes on the, do we have any?
Amenable to that? It says standard requirement in town, it sounds like.
It is.
Along wetland boundaries.
It's in our regulations.
Okay,
And it's gonna be right up against where the new pond area anyway.
Right.
so-
It'll be right at the, wherever you're doing the restoration where you're,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, their lawn is their lawn, but
right,
that whole
that
created.
area, yeah. I mean, it will eventually establish with pretty robust vegetation, but
Right,
if it's
and-
right on the edge, then,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
But I think this is very nice to what was there, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like what was there before was a bit of a hazard, so, yeah.
Okay.
So we need a motion on this.
Yes.
Yeah, so first,
Anybody from the, anybody from the audience here?
anybody from the audience have anything to say?
Comments?
Okay. Bringing it back to the board.
Make a motion to approve the restoration plan for 60 Barry Road
Second.
with the addition of 2 standard signs. And that's on our website, so you can see what the standard signs are.
Okay.
And increase signage and
Plant
in
height.
spring.
Oh, and then,
To
when do you
defer.
want to start? March, April?
Originally, we had talked about starting this fall, but I understand now the concern about sourcing plants and also stabilizing the area with seed mix. I think we would be open to doing the springtime. Would that work for you? Okay. Yeah, I think, probably early spring, April.
Okay.
And the standard procedure, I'm assuming, would be for us to contact the commission and inform you that we're getting started.
Yep.
If there's any plant substitutions needed, we would run those by the commission. And then, do we receive any kind of paperwork from you on this, or is just?
No, we just need monitoring plant, spring, fall, for the next 2 years.
Okay,
And then,
let it grow.
yeah, we'd rescind the enforcement order
Okay,
when that's done.
In that motion, can we add that the plant sizes will be 6 to 8 and 3 to 5?
Yes. I'll let you know
So
that you guys are
we
making
should,
the motion.
we'll follow up with a letter to you,
okay,
just so we make sure everyone understands exactly. So the motion would be for the larger trees,
And shrubs.
start date in April of '25, and with the 2 signs.
okay.
Could they translate that?
Oh, would you be able to translate it, in Portuguese, right? Would you be able to translate
We can
it?
do that, too.
Okay,
Translate the letter?
yeah, for the owners?
Sure.
That would be great, thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
There is a second on the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Or any opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Where's my agenda? There we go. Okay, I'm gonna shift the agenda a bit to next go for discussion on the enforcement order at 267 North Quincy Street. So I understand we have one of the property owners here on Zoom. Yeah.
I'm here, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right.
That's okay, we don't need video.
Okay, so I will take this if you want.
Yes.
So I was reviewing some emails and letters, and we're getting the back feed again. And I asked Lynn, how we doing here, guys? How's that?
That's okay.
So I called Lynn and asked her what was going on there. So I took a ride out and I ran into Victor Jr. So we had a conversation, and he had said that he was willing to do digging, but when some members of this board went out there, they wanted a soil scientist there. And he had said that he would do 2, maybe 3, I forget, Victor, how many you said, and I said that we wanted 4 borings done with the wetland, with the soil scientist there, and he agreed to do that. Is that correct, what happened, Victor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the next step here is, we just wanted you at the meeting so we all agree that that's what the conversation was. And I think the next step is just to set it up. If you want to contact a soil scientist and let us know when, and then we can go out there and witness it.
Yeah, I can do that.
So the question is, when do we want to do this?
We already had a deadline of November 1st for
Yep.
delineation report.
How about the scientist? So when he can go?
Well, do you think we can get this done by November 1st, Victor?
I highly doubt I'll be able to get a wetland scientist out there by November 1st, but I can call tomorrow.
Okay, why don't you call and get back to us within a day or so? And
Yeah,
find out.
I'm gonna call Weston and Sampson tomorrow, and I have a drill rig lined up, but I just need a scientist, so.
Okay. So let us know when, a couple of dates when they could do it, and get back to Tony, and then we will go from there.
I have a question, though.
Yes.
Where are these borings going to be? I
So
mean-
that's, I was going to bring that up
Oh,
next.
okay.
Lynn had 4 spots that she wanted done, and I think, you know the 4 spots, Victor, or?
I do not, no one's shown me anything.
Okay. We will get that information to you tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah.
Actually, if you wanted to mark it on the plan, I can stop by tomorrow and give it to him.
Okay.
I think do we have a plan?
I think
No, that's Jason Kennedy.
you had the enforcement order had or should have been sent to him with the plan of the area. I had highlighted it with red.
Okay, I don't have that.
Okay.
If you can
I know
get
the
that.
area's of concern, I just don't know where you want the holes drilled.
Right.
So I need a map with X's marked where you would like the borings done, so I can give that to the drill rig and the wetland scientist.
I think the wetland scientist would be the best to determine where those need to be, because they're gonna know exactly where to dig, and
I can leave it at his discretion then, that's fine.
okay.
But what we have general idea where we want it.
Yeah,
correct?
the area that's delineated, or that has the overlay for Mass Mapper, but the wetland scientists themselves are gonna know exactly, I need to dig here, 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 in this section, here, 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 in this section. That's something that, I don't wanna tell the wetland scientists what to do, because I'm not a wetland scientist, and I want them to be able to do their job correctly. So I have that map with the overlay.
Yep,
I can send it to him,
okay,
and I think you have it, but I'll send it again.
yeah. I thought I grabbed everything in my pile, but I guess I didn't. So, one way or the other, we'll get that to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Anything else?
Keep communications going back and forth.
Right.
Let's stay in communication.
Yeah, I mean, once he secures a wetland scientist, if he could ensure that he corresponds to you and Lynn, because you seem to be coordinating it together with her, and then bring the information back to the rest of us.
Yeah.
Because, like Lynn had said, when we first were notified that there were issues on that property, it was from when we had a circuit rider. And there's many areas, and I'm not qualified to say what is and what isn't.
Right.
So, once he secures the wetland scientist, let you two know who they are, and then coordinate it from
And then
there.
we'll talk to that from there, okay.
And I do agree with what Victor is saying, because I've been trying to get peer reviewers, and they're straight out. They
Yeah.
are straight out.
Well, hopefully, we can get it done in November, so,
Yeah.
We have
Yeah,
a
by
November
November.
15th.
Fingers crossed.
November 15th.
Is the
Okay.
latest they can do a delineation.
Yeah, because after the 15th, it's,
Right,
Winter conditions.
yeah.
okay, well,
This
We'll
isn't,
get
this
you-
isn't a delineation, though, it's just the soil borings.
right,
Well, it is a delineation because you're doing soil borings.
So the soil borings is what you need for delineation.
Yeah, you want to get the wetland scientist. The wetland scientist is going to know exactly what needs to be done.
Well, how many, so we do, so the agreement is I'm gonna do 4 holes, on the property
Not for
in the location.
Areas.
For areas.
4 areas or 4 holes? Because
No,
what was said was 4 holes.
there's 4 areas.
4
on the
areas, and the
property.
wetland scientists may say we need 1 in this area, 2 in this area, and 1 at this, so that's up to them, but it's 4 areas.
Yeah, because cost is obviously gonna affect, my ability to pay for, depending on the amount of holes. It's not at a cheap expense, so.
That's why I would talk to the wetland scientist.
Yeah, get the
And see
wetland
what they
scientists
say.
first and see what they say.
And if this gets pushed past November 15th, what happens then?
Then we have to wait until March 15th. Or is it March 31st? March 31st.
Can they drill in the winter? Those
No.
drill rigs operate in the winter seasons.
Well, we don't accept anything between November 15th and March 31st.
Okay, so if we can't, so it has to get pushed to March essentially if nothing can happen before November.
Right, so if you can't get it done by November 15th, then you have to push it to April 1st.
April 1st, okay.
Well, let's try and get it done by November 1st, and everyone will be happy.
Works for me.
Okay, we'll be in touch.
Sounds good,
Any
thank
other
you.
questions for them? All right, thank you, Victor.
Thank you.
No worries.
Okay. All right, next up on the agenda, request for certificate of compliance, 5 Robert English Way. So hopefully you have that in your packet. We just gave them a partial certificate of compliance. They came back, said grass is growing,
And
it's all
Rich and I
good.
witnessed that.
Yep, so we just need to give them the full certificate of compliance.
And this is on both.
Yeah, well,
Well, we're doing them
we'll do
for-
a separate vote for each.
So 5 Robert English is the one next to 17? That's
Yep.
correct? Okay.
Yep.
So Rich and I walked both of those. Rich?
I'll make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance with 5 Robert English Way.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay. Now request for certificate of compliance for 17 Robert English Way.
I will also make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 17 Robert English Way.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay. All right, next, discussion and possible vote on ANRAD, 0 Shaw Avenue, filed by Manny Ramos, Shaw Avenue Realty Partners, LLC. Hello.
Ken Thompson, wetland scientist for the project. Come before you tonight to give you authorization to go ahead and have the review done by Eco Solutions.
What is that?
Oh, that was Brandon Faniff.
Oh, okay. All right, so he's giving us authorization for the peer review?
To move forward, yep.
Okay, perfect.
Correct.
Thank you. All right. So Jean, do you want to reach out?
And let Brandon know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Brandon first
And I'd
thing
like to
tomorrow.
be present when he delineates the site, so
I will
any
give him,
chances.
I will send him an email and I'll put you on it, and
I
you two can
appreciate that.
coordinate.
Yeah, then if there's any changes, we can agree on it that day.
Absolutely, and if you can't get it done before November 15th, but, yeah. I will
gonna be
put you on the email.
390 at November 15th. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Don't think we need to take a vote on that. All right, then we have discussion and possible vote on dependable tree located at 837 Randolph Street. Do we have anybody here from that property? No? Okay.
Copies of this and bring it to them tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I know there was a discussion with their wetland scientist about restoration and whether restoration needed to be done.
Are we talking dependable?
Dependable tree, yes.
Absolutely.
Didn't they say they were gonna have someone from the state come by and look at it?
So I was talking to Whitney McLeese
I was gonna
because
say,
I had
did she
a
actually
question.
leave and go there?
Well, no, it was.
He was
I-
confident that they would, so it's
Yeah, he
surprising.
was. I was not, as you know.
Yeah,
I-
exactly. I was kinda curious about that.
I was having a question with her for a procedural thing, and she said, "Oh, by the way, did you tell him that I'm a circuit rider?" And I said, "No," and I have witnesses, right?
He
I
was
did
confident
not.
that she would be
And
leaving.
she said, "Yeah, I'm not a circuit rider," and she did not, she would not
Yeah.
come up here to take a look at everything. So I think in talking to Mr. Donahoe, he wants us to make a judgment about whether restoration does need to be done, performed. And then the next step would be for the NOI that he wants to do on the house.
And when we
For us.
went out and talked and met with Mr. Donahoe and the property owner, there was something nagging in the back of my brain, so I went back and I watched the April 30th meeting of 2024, when Dependable Tree came before us with the wetland scientist. At that time, Mr. Donahoe introduced himself and told us all about the property and how unique it was. And I had mentioned that when I had gone out there, the parking lot was expanded. Mr. Donahoe, the applicant, Mr. Rivera, I can't remember his first name. I can't remember it.
Wagner?
Wagner. Said that yes, one of his managers said it was, something that they were given the okay to do, and I said, no one from this board gave them the okay to do anything. And then he said there was some sort of misunderstanding, and his managers went ahead and put the reprocessed asphalt in. If you go back to the timestamp of 2100 on the April 30th meeting, Mr. Donahoe, the wetland scientist, did say they encroached 15 feet into that area. He also indicated the property, as it comes closer to Route 139, where the entrance is, there was hydric soil in there, but they weren't planning on doing anything. But yet, it's all filled with reprocessed asphalt. When they came before us on the August 27th meeting, I think it was, that's when they came with a proposal to combine this with another property that they purchased right next door to it. And now they want to move everything. And I'm like, this isn't making sense to me, because in April you're telling us this, and now all of a sudden it doesn't apply. It makes no sense to me. To me, we were there with the enforcement, well, not with enforcement, but on a complaint. The parking lot was expanded. They agreed to move it to the other side, and now that's all gone by the wayside, even though Mr. Donahoe said in the April 30th meeting, they encroached 15 feet into the buffer area there. I have a problem with that. To me, that says you have to do restoration. So I would suggest my fellow commissioners go back and watch the April 30th meeting, timestamp 2100, and you will hear the whole discussion about what the wetland scientist said then versus what he's saying now. I gave you this, I don't have the
Yeah.
email in front of me, but was it 2100? Do you have can you call up your email in your phone?
Oh, the one that you sent.
Yeah, because I missed the
Yes,
last
today.
meeting, family things.
Okay, let me see where it is.
I think I called out the timestamp, but if you go back and watch it,
Yeah, just a sec. It was.
Didn't they say it was always an existing parking lot and it just grew over?
that's what he said, but
That was-
yet,
that was the
on
other thing
April
that-
30th, that wasn't the case.
They never brought that up, right?
Well, April
Didn't they?
30th, it was just the opposite. He said, yes, they did encroach. And
Okay.
now here, he's saying it's
It
always
was
been
always
there.
been an existing
And I'm
parking
like-
lot, and then it just kind of grew over the
And I'm like,
years.
something's not,
That didn't sound right,
It
even with
didn't.
where you said like the water flows like uphill and around.
oh, no, he said the wetland was flat, but half of it went one way and half went the other.
Right,
And
yeah.
I still couldn't understand
that was a
what
little-
was the determining. And he said, well, there was a trench on one side, but if it's flat, the water just gonna stagnate.
I was gonna say, I don't know how it travels north.
I don't know, but.
I got
my-
the timestamp was 2137 on the April 30th meeting.
2137. So to me, I mean, again, just based on the first declaration from the wetland scientist stating that, yeah, there's hydric soil by 139, but they weren't going to do anything, and then there was encroachment, so. Lynn, did you have a chance to watch it?
I did, and he said that. He did say there was this wet area, exactly what you're saying, in that, right, section. So the question is, everywhere else on the property seemed to be fine.
Yes.
Right, it was all the original stuff. They cleaned up all the stuff that we asked them to do. Looks like they're not gonna encroach any farther. They're well aware of that. So the
Oh, yeah.
sticking point is just this one area.
And it's become a sticking point only because of the property that's been purchased, and he wants to combine the two as one project as an NOI.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, how can you combine two projects when we haven't even resolved the issue, which was the complaint?
Right.
So, I don't know.
So any do we want to tell him, okay, you need to restore this one area? And then they can decide what they want to do with, whether they want to do an NOI.
I think that
For
if
the
the rest of the
adjournment.
commissioners can go back and watch it and hear the testimony that was given and make a determination from there. I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody else. I don't want to. I'm just saying, that's what I recall. I think you were probably not there. Were you there?
That one sounds familiar.
Does
I
it?
think I was present for that meeting.
Yeah.
I'll certainly go back and watch it, but
Oh, and I'm in a butter, so I'm staying out of this one.
Okay.
Sure. So, do we want to go ahead, rewatch it, come back to the next meeting, and then make a decision regarding whether restoration should be done?
I think we should table this one till the next meeting. And I say that only because we should do a little bit more research.
Sure.
And at the same time, I think the situation has changed since that first violation. So I don't think buying that adjacent property is going to solve that unless we discuss that. But first and foremost, it should be this is the current problem at hand. Let's find some, some resolution to that current
Right.
issue. And if it includes then now, okay, in fact, you did buy that property next door, then maybe we can be open to figuring something out when they give us a better plan of what they're planning on doing with both the properties. But again, there's a violation in process, and we should stick to that until we,
Part of the problem
Like I said, I'm
is-
staying out of this, but I'm not in favor of one notice of intent for two projects on anywhere.
no, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Let's keep it separate.
Yep,
So one of the things that's a little tricky is what they want to do is they want to take and move an intermittent stream
and the pond that was there.
and that pond.
Little fish pond.
And he has reasons for it, which I understand.
Because it'll grant them accessibility into the property that was purchased so they can put a house on it.
I was gonna say, weren't they looking for a single-family home to
Yes.
build on that property?
I was, I don't know if have ever guys gone on MACC website and looked at the forums at all? Because I hadn't until a couple of weeks ago. And somebody had the same question about moving an intermittent stream. It was like from last year. And apparently if you move over 50 feet of bank, because you're going to move the bank and you're going to move the channel, then that triggers a wildlife habitat review. And there's also, the person who wrote the response to this said it automatically triggers a wildlife habitat review if you move over 50 feet of bank, which they're proposing to do. And we can also use peer review. So one thing we could do is just have someone come in and peer review the whole thing. But getting to your point, Rich, treating it separately, like, we can't do an NOI for restoration. So do we just say, you're doing the restoration, the house issue is separate? Or do we, I mean, he hasn't even filed the NOI.
But the fact,
We can't put the cart before the horse, but you can't buy another property with the hopes to readjust what you're doing on your current property
thank you.
and add, whether you're doing replication or anything like that. Ultimately, it's our goal to protect these wetlands.
Yes.
And at the same time, we want to help the citizens do what's right by the wetlands. So I think by treating them separately, we're doing the best for both people. And I think it's fair, predictable, and equitable.
Not only that, but from April 30th, and we didn't see them again until August. I mean, they had 3 months.
Again, it comes down to communication, and they haven't,
Exactly.
been very
I mean, I think we're
communicative.
very clear, and the applicant, like I said, the property owner himself said, we'll do whatever you want, we'll move it, and I think it was agreed at the April 30th meeting, if you watch it through, they were gonna move the parking over to the other side, near the cemetery side, and restore what was there.
Right.
And so 3 months go by, you don't hear from them, you're assuming that, I mean, bad on me for not driving by there, but
But I guess the other question is, by moving that parking lot over to the other side, restoring that space, does that hamper any ability for them to use their other property for whatever they decide it's suitable for, But again, it should be a separate situation to
Yeah.
all of this.
Yeah.
thank you.
So do you guys want to watch that, and then we'll come back and take a vote?
I think
next
tabling this would be best and do a little research, yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and then continue into the next meeting.
Oh, my.
They're doing some drilling over there.
So they're fixing the air conditioning?
Oh, is that what they're
I
doing?
think it was.
Oh, good.
Just in time.
Just in time for
Yeah,
winter.
just in time.
Exactly.
It's gonna get down to
Exactly.
51 tonight, yeah.
So do we want to have a motion for that?
Sure. I mean, do we need a motion on that?
We should
Just to
make a motion.
continue it
Yep.
till the next meeting,
Can we,
and that
after we
you
watch
guys
it, we
will.
can go back and decide
I'll make a
more?
motion based on what Mr. Smith recommended. Table it until the next meeting, have the Conservation Commissioners watch the April 30th discussion from the wetland scientists for dependable tree, and come back to the next meeting, which will be October, I don't have my calendar out,
22nd.
22nd. For-
Second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Unanimous.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Except for the abstention. Thank you. Okay. All right, next up on the agenda, enforcement order at 225 Brockton Avenue. Anybody here for that? No? Okay. So I heard from Tony today. She had reached out or tried to reach out to the property owners, and she cannot get a hold of them for some reason. So the question now is, do we send them a letter saying, hey guys, we want to do a site walk? Do we want to give them a deadline?
This is incredible.
We have an enforcement order on them.
This is incredible. Does Jason Harris have any other contact information as far as getting a hold? I know he was working with his people prior to us. Perhaps maybe Tony can check with Jason and see if he has a way of getting in touch with them, and he can share with her, because this is something we've been asking for a few months now.
Right. I don't know what, I mean, I assume she got the telephone number from him.
Okay.
May not be. She was asking if we wanted to have a letter sent certified saying,
Well, yeah, I mean, we should have a
Name
certified
says.
letter sent to wherever their mailing address is, but in the same token, you know, we can try another avenue.
yeah, we'll ask Jason, but then if we can't,
So the owner is not the one that's operating the,
the owner's not, it's the
I don't,
manager.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking. Do you know if the owner is the one operating the business there?
I thought that there was, it was being rented out.
Yeah,
It's not being used as a gas station, it's strictly for cars.
yeah,
Yeah, but the owner is the one the enforcement order would be under.
right, yeah.
Right.
So stopping by there to see them would be no good because they're not the
Right.
owners?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, you can say,
We're trying to get in touch with them.
since there's an
I'll
enforcement
stop by there
order,
tomorrow.
you can say, hi, my name is,
Yeah.
I'm from here.
I'll stop by tomorrow and I'll let you know.
Okay. Right.
Go by there 20 times a day, so.
Okay, good.
That's it?
I mean, as long as you, I think as long as you announce yourself.
Right,
and
I'll give them a
say-
card and just tell them we're just trying to reach the owner.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
guys doing by there
Perfect.
20 times a day? You wave when you go by my street?
On occasion.
I always wait, you never seen me?
No, I was gonna ask you for coffee. but
I
okay.
wave. All right, so
I'll go
moving
there
next,
tomorrow.
Hanson Tree,
Okay.
832 Randolph Street. Wait, no,
No,
wrong one.
that's not it.
Sorry, I'm looking at a different one. SCO 840576, notice of intent filed for a proposed residential subdivision with the cul-de-sac crossing existing wetlands to create 3 lots with a single-family home on each located at 44 and 54 Linwood Street. Is anybody? That's you? Okay.
Okay.
I have like a special request from my partner, which was the one that did the original presentation, had a problem at home,
Oh, sorry.
and he sent me, and I...
Stand, talk into the microphone, please.
You want to
Hi.
introduce your name and
I'm
address?
Carlos Ferreira from MP Design Consultants. I didn't have a chance to bring a set of plans with me because I came directly to the meeting. Can you guys share one of them?
Yeah.
Harder to do.
Share, Alex.
Yeah.
This is a 3-lot subdivision. I guess we have been in front of you previously, and I think like we had like some questions from, or this is the first time that we had like a public meeting for this, right?
Yeah, and the problem with this is that it's been continued several times.
Okay.
And it's not fair to the abutters. This gentleman has been at 3 meetings when you were supposed to be here. I just got a text from another resident that said he wasn't notified of this hearing tonight. And the problem is, when you first send out your certified mail, to notify everyone. That's the hearing date. And then when you don't show up, and we continue it, and we continue it, and we continue it, and we continue it, it's not fair to the residents of the town who now are not here. Because this gentleman that texted me said he would have been here tonight had he known you were going to be here. So, when was this first filed?
I think this was back like in September, right? Yeah, the original filing was like September.
Several months ago. Let's see.
Certified mail went out on August 1st.
Yes.
And we have all these green slips here, and not, well, only one residence here, and we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 certified mails that went out. So those other 18 people don't know about this hearing tonight. Personally, I would like to see the residents re-notified and then do a public hearing. I don't think it's fair to the residents to hold this hearing tonight.
A second.
Just my
I
opinion.
agree, definitely.
I would agree with that. It's been 2 months. And
I guess during that time, I mean, there was like several comments and letters that we did like with the people that.
We understand that. We understand. We've continued this since then. But unless you're here, you don't know it's been continued. And it's not fair to the residents. So I'm actually going to make a motion that you re-notify all the residents, all the abutters, and we hold a hearing in November for this. And that's my motion. I don't know what.
I think it's fair to the abutters anyways. They should have the right to,
That's right. The abutters should have the right to be here.
The problem is that there have been 2 times
Yep,
where we didn't hear from anybody from your firm.
yes.
And so we were here going, okay, it's on the agenda, what's happening? And that happened twice. So, we've continued and continued, but I can understand what, the residents saying, is it actually happening at all? So we need to have more clearer communication between your firm and us, for one.
Yep,
If we get into a situation again where we don't hear from you, we'll either continue it for several months or we'll deny. So we definitely need to have you guys talking to us, and also, I agree, re-notifying the abutters, and we'll push it off to November.
So
I agree.
my motion, go ahead.
I was just going to ask I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
Carlos.
Carlos, I didn't
yes.
get to, are you going to be in charge of this project, or who is in charge from your firm?
I have another partner, which is Mark Alencar, which is the person that originally did all the filing and
So
stuff.
who is this other woman that's,
So,
Zoe, I
Chang.
mean, she works for us. She's
Okay.
like a
I mean,
also an
because
engineer.
her communicating with our administrative assistant was very difficult.
Yeah,
If you you and your partner can provide email addresses and communicate with the chair and vice chair,
okay.
because, again, it's not fair to the public who live around that area, and we've been here twice, and no one from your firm has been here, so.
and here's a letter saying that you requested a continuance to September 9th, and nobody showed up September 9th. You requested that, not us.
Okay.
So my motion is to continue this until well, you tell me, do you have time
So,
to
I
get
mean,
the notifications out and have a hearing?
So we just
on
need the notification. You want like also the newspaper?
everything. I want everything re-notified, just like filing.
we should get a dedicated point of contact so we can
Yes.
make sure that we can.
So
talk
I'm going to
about
say, to give you the benefit of the doubt, to get everything notified, to continue it to November 26th.
Second.
So Just one question on that. So what would be your next meeting?
You're not going to be able to notify everyone within 2 weeks.
So, and then after that,
After
that's
that would be
November?
November 12th.
Okay. Can we do the November?
If you get on this tomorrow and get everything out, you probably can. I'd be willing to do that, but if the abutters aren't notified,
All right, so
then
for
my
tomorrow,
motion on November 12th would be to deny this.
okay. So for tomorrow, I have to do like all the listings and notify the newspaper.
Resend the letters
Yes.
stating that the hearing will be held on November 12th,
Okay.
and to all the 19
The butters?
abutters, or whoever got certified mail before, and put it in the newspaper.
Okay, I can certainly do
Then
that
I'll
for
change my
tomorrow.
motion to continue this to November 12th with the understanding that the applicant will re-advertise in the newspaper and notify all the abutters.
And friendly amendment to that, have an appropriate point of contact with our administrative assistant.
I can leave my voicemail and be like in tune and with the
Okay.
board for that. There's also, there will be like any additional reviews done to this? I mean, is the review complete by any peer review? Or you guys don't send this out?
We haven't held a hearing on it, so we haven't done anything.
So you only send that for peer review after the meeting?
Well, I'm not sure we're even gonna do peer review on this.
It's gonna depend.
At this
Yeah.
point, we need to hear from the public and hear your presentation
Yeah.
of what we're looking at.
Then we'll
We don't
decide.
know what we're gonna do.
Peer review's
yet.
about step 5, and haven't even gotten past step 1 of having a hearing.
I'm just, usually, I mean, we send the plans, I mean, there's somebody that makes comments, we adjust that according to like whatever the
Well, that's
guidelines.
typically with planning board, but
Yeah.
this board's different.
Okay.
So we will hold a hearing, we'll listen to your side, we'll listen to all the residents, and then we'll decide where we proceed from there.
And I think we did actually I think Lynn reached out. Didn't you reach out, especially when it came to looking at these plans? Because the sheet itself, where, I mean,
There are a lot, like, with the NOI checklist.
I mean, this is
there were a lot
all
of issues.
over,
I
the
know,
information on here is just,
there's too many trees over there.
it's not even a question of that, but I mean, I understand that's what it looks like now, but then when you put the houses on there, you couldn't see no you couldn't see the elevations, or nothing was on there, so it's pretty hard to read. I mean, it can be done, but it took me a long time to try to follow it.
Okay.
So my motion is to continue to November 12th with the understanding the applicant will re-advertise in the newspaper and notify all the abutters again. And-
Second on the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did you ask for the audience input?
Well, there is one abutter here. Did you have anything to add?
That's right, sorry.
No? Okay.
You
All
good?
right.
Okay. All right, so let me.
Thanks for showing up.
Unanimous.
Tell your friends.
Map for the tree houses,
Sure.
All right, the next thing is the discussion about partial certificate of compliance policy. Scott is gonna send that to town council
Okay.
to look it over.
Even though we've kind of reached out to conservation commissions around us, and they have the policies, and,
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess he feels like he wants them to take a look at it.
Okay.
It's, I don't think there's gonna be an issue with it, because I just took things from different commissions, and
Yep.
over half of it was just making very clear, like, when they actually give a certificate of compliance, hey, make sure that says this and this and this, just to make it super clear, because it looked like we've had a case where someone came in and said, here's the as-built, it's substantially in compliance, and it was like what, 20% in compliance or something?
Maybe,
So
yeah, I remember that.
I made some language more specific to
Okay.
address, you can't just say it's in substantial compliance, you have to say, here are any differences.
Right.
And here they are, sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah, Scott is gonna send that on to, town council. And then we'll-
I mean, most of the time applicants, when they're working on a project, if something drastically has changed, they do reach out normally and say,
Yeah,
Houston, we have a problem.
right.
And they'll notify the board and say, this. So
Yeah.
we just need to have something to back us up.
Yeah. But those are the
Yeah.
only changes I made, was just making the actual certificate of compliance, like once it's been granted.
Thank you.
Or once
Yeah.
you're filling it out, it's gonna be a lot more specific, so.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell your friends.
All right.
We have openings.
No donuts in the next meeting either.
You have to go online and apply, come on.
I got 2 new legs and they get better. Every time I come to see you, they get better, so I
All right,
See, so it's
See?
good, it's an omen.
you've been coming every other Tuesday now anyway.
That's right, that
Might
chair
as
is,
well.
got your name on it.
So thank you. I'm going down south.
Are you sure?
Not
I want to be
to,
on the board down south, and I don't want to be on the board down south. Because I don't think there's going to be a south after Friday.
yeah.
I know, I
There's
have
gonna be a lot of
a
work
family
there.
down there, I do, I know.
What are they going to do with all that mess?
I don't
Where
know.
do they take all the trash to? Empty out all those homes, all those couches, all those refrigerators, and they take them someplace.
There's the incinerators down south. They have huge incinerators. It's like Clean Harbors, that's it. All south, they have all the waste and stuff like that they put.
Awful.
It's disgusting.
Thank you again.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I know someone whose house was destroyed. What was the one, not the last week, but last year, 2 years ago?
Katrina, no.
Katrina.
Katrina.
Oh, that was awful.
Rebuilt the whole, Terry around.
Oh,
And now they're down there rebuilding from last week's storm.
My cousin's in-laws, they lived right near Lake Pontchartrain,
Oh,
which
geez.
was a tough area. And my sister's in Ocala, my niece is in Ocala, my cousin's in Citrus Hills.
My mother-in-law's in Summerside, which is near Ocala.
Yeah.
But looking at the map, they should only get wind.
No, my sister, she was saying, expect 15 inches of rain.
Thank you.
Okay,
You can imagine
Good.
15 inches of
15
rain.
inches.
let's finish up, guys.
Okay, let's go.
All right,
Let's
all
just-
right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
We're still,
We are in.
Fans
We're
watching.
almost there, we're almost
Okay.
done.
on the home stretch, let's go.
That's right. Building permit site visits, nothing. Minutes, we have the April, what was it, 8th, 2024 minutes.
I'm going to bring all those with me, but I did read minutes.
There's only 3 that we actually have, the April 8th, 30th, and May 30th. So I don't know if everyone had time to look them
No, we got
over.
August 27th. there.
'Cause I don't have that one.
I got it here.
Did June 25th get approved with the changes that were made from way back?
June 25th, I have no idea. We haven't approved minutes
Okay.
for
'Cause-
Too long.
Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we have Tony send us all, email us, scan and email all the minutes again, so we all have them,
Yeah,
and we can all look at them.
sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Any minutes that have not been voted on, please scan and email to everyone.
Okay.
That sound like a plan? And then
I
we'll
agree.
review them and vote on all of them at the next meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
we're
I
John,
behind.
what isn't able to vote on some of them, Rich might not have been here.
Right,
so-
and I think here on this one, there were changes that were needed on
Yeah.
these, and I don't see that, unless you approved it at the last meeting, I
We
don't know.
We didn't approve it.
All right,
I
so
kept having to bump it back.
So let's do that.
dropped off.
You should actually let Tony know, so before she sends everything out, she can change.
Yeah, I think I did at that
Okay.
meeting. Yeah, I'm like,
So we want them scanned and emailed to us.
right, because I think when we discussed Bedford Street and Block Street with Mr. Goslin, she had Mr. Bunker. And I'm like, he wasn't there, he wasn't on our board then.
Yeah, I'd sent that to her,
Okay.
that one. I
All right.
noticed it. Okay.
Correspondence?
No correspondence.
Okay.
Actually, there was a piece of correspondence. One is I have not looked at it, but please feel free. And that's it
So you're gonna call Tony,
Used to sweating.
I know.
for all this, yeah.
all outstanding emails scanned and sent to us.
Yes, it's on my list.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great.